Welcome to Stoner Watch Netflix Review. Today we're going to be doing a review of the Netflix series Lost in Space Season 1, which dropped on April 13th of 2018. Yeah, I know this is a couple years old, but I was out of town for work a few weeks ago, and I just finally got around to actually catching and sitting down and actually watching this show. So now it's starring Molly Parker coming in as Maureen Robinson. We got Toby Stevenson playing John Robinson. We have Maxwell Jenkins playing Will Robinson, Taylor Russell coming in playing Judy Robinson, and we have Mina Sundwall playing Penny Robinson. We have Ignacio Serricchio playing Don West, Parker Posey coming in playing June Harris / Dr. Smith, and we have Brian Steele coming in playing the alien robot. Now there were 10 episodes for season 1, so first up we've got episode 1, Impact, episode 2, Diamonds in the Sky, were directed by Neil Marshall, written by Matt Sazama and Burk Sharpless. Now we got episode 3, Infestation, was directed by Tim Southam and written by Zack Estrin. I believe that's how you say your name. If not, I do apologize. Episode 4, The Robinsons Were Here, directed by Allison Troughton. I believe that's how you say your name, and written by Katherine Collins. Episode 5, Transmission, directed by Deborah Chow. It is pretty damn awesome, and written by Kari Drake. Episode 6, Eulogy, was directed by Vincenzo Natali, written by Ed McCardie. Episode 7, Pressurized, we got Tim Southam coming back to direct, and this one was written by Vivian Lee. Episode 8, Trajectory, we've got Stephen Surjik coming in to direct, and we got Katherine Collins and Kari Drake coming back to write this one. Episode 9, we've got Tim Southam coming back to direct the third one this season. Now, the story was written by Daniel McLellan, and the screenplay was written by Kari Drake. And episode 10, Danger, Will Robinson, is directed by Dave Nutter, and we've got Matt Sazama and Burk Sharpless to come back in to write out the season finale. Now, the description reads, in the aftermath of an impact event that threatens the survival of humanity, the Robinson family is selected for the 24th mission of the Resolute, the 24th colonist group. It's an interstellar spacecraft carrying selected families to colonize the Alpha Centauri star system. Before they reach their destination, an alien robot breaches the Resolute hull, forced to evacuate the mothership and short-range Jupiter spacecraft. Scores of colonists, among them the Robinsons, crash on a nearby habitable planet. There they must contend with strange environment and battle their own personal demons as they search for a way back to the Resolute. Now, my initial and overall thoughts on this show, I like this show a lot. I mean, I like it a lot. Now, I know I basically waited 2 years to actually start watching this show. Now, I remember seeing the advertisements for this show back in 2018 before it actually did drop. I'm like, hey, that looks pretty damn good. Now, I was a big, huge fan of the 60s series. I caught those reruns when I was a kid on TV. And then there was the 98 film with William Hurt that came out in the summer. And that was pretty damn good. I caught that when I was out on the road with my band touring with Switchblade Symphony and what have you. So now, like, those two were actually pretty close to being almost like the exact same story. Now, it was kind of funny doing show prep. I was like reading the description for the 60s show. That was supposed to take off in October of 1997. That's when that show, that's when they were going to go flying out into space, was in 97. Now, the 98 film storyline is supposed to take place in 2058. Now, it was kind of interesting when I was doing research and what have you for this show. And it was kind of how, like, all three stories are kind of similar, but at the same time, they're different. Like in the 60s series, like they were just going to out to explore the universe and stuff like that. It wasn't like no big, huge catastrophic event that made them they had to go, or they were like not going to, it was going to be bad. Also, it was kind of funny. You look at, they were supposed to be gone for like 5.5 years. Now, if you know, going by what we know about space travel now, 5.5 years would only get them to Jupiter. They weren't going to get the Alpha Centauri, but that's for a whole nother thing. And then like, the 98 version and stuff like that, it's due to irreversible climate change and what have you. So they got to go to another place because the Earth is becoming more and more uninhabitable. So uninhabitable and what have you. So, and then like over in the 2018 and stuff like that, they're supposedly in the beginning, they're saying it's because like a comet or an asteroid or what hit the Earth. And that's why they had to go out into space. Now we find out through the course of the season 1 that that's not completely true. And it's not, and then we find out even more as it goes on. So, and that was pretty damn cool to watch. Now with the first two like with the 60s series and the 98 film, John Robinson was pretty much like the main professor guy. He was the one who was like leading the whole team and what have you. Now in this series, Maureen Robinson is the head professor and rocket scientist. And John Robinson in this one, he's like a former Navy SEAL, which I thought that was a better twist on it to like give the dad a little bit more of a, I don't know. I thought that was a better twist of the story as far as that goes. And then I thought it was kind of interesting to see that the robot in this series is like completely different, if you really think about it, compared to the other two versions where this robot was not on board when they initially took off, which I'm kind of shocked that there actually was not some kind of robotics involved on this show, to be quite honest with you, but that's for like a whole nother video, I guess. But again, I thought that was pretty damn cool, where the robot in this show is more of an alien, like intelligent species, what have you. I don't know if they're organic or if it's all complete. I mean, it's pretty damn interesting on how they're portraying this robot compared to the other two versions, at least as far as I'm concerned. And then I thought it was pretty interesting that they have it to where Judy is like, you can obviously not from the same parents and what have you. And I'm like, at first I'm like, and they do eventually address that in the show, which I'm not saying it's anything wrong with it. It's just like, whoa, wait a minute. But then like they do eventually do say, hey, this is what was going on. So that was pretty damn cool to see. Now, this is like, even though when this show came out in 2018, they dropped the whole entire series all at once, so they'd be easily to go through and probably binge watch the whole damn thing. And I could see when I first started watching it, that's pretty much, I got hooked. I mean, I had to like, as soon as you get into like towards the end of the episode and you're going into the next one, like, man, I got to know what goes on. Now I was actually able to keep myself from watching, like staying up all night long, watching it and what have you. And I was like pretty much watching it every single day while I was out on the road. So, and then when I got, by the time I got to episode 8, I was like, man, I got to finish watching this because like it was like the cliffhanger was like, man, I got to know what's going on. Now compared to like shows like The Mandalorian, now I liked it to where it was like, went from week to week each time and what have you, but that's how they were dropping it. So now if you were somebody like who went to go watch The Mandalorian, now all the 8 episodes are out. So you can watch the whole thing in all in one shot, basically like you would for Lost in Space. So it depends on how you want to do it. I like the week to week thing, but I was kind of glad I was able to watch the whole entire series for Lost in Space instead of having to wait. I don't know. It kind of goes either way on that one. I mean, I could wait for week to week on it. Like maybe if they do that for season 3, which I doubt because that's not Netflix's MO. So I don't have to wait to see how that plays out. But again, I like this show a lot. And then there was the Dr. Smith in this one, which is a little bit different character compared to the other two versions and stuff like that, where that guy was like, he was like on the opposite side, like the bad guys on Earth who was trying to get it to where the people that on the Jupiter government thing were not going to achieve what they wanted to achieve. Where in this one, this chick who's playing Dr. Smith, she's not really a doctor, really. She's just a con artist trying to get a fresh new living. I mean, if you want to make a fresh new start, just move to a different state or something. I mean, you can't really, you really think that, that was kind of weird, but she's been so far been sticking around and staying alive. So you got to give her credit on that one. Now, I almost didn't recognize her that she was like the chick from Dazed and Confused, but man, it's like, holy shit, that's her. So that was pretty cool to see. Now, the Don West character played by Ignacio Serricchio. I hope I don't butcher your name, dude. Now, I actually have to say, compared to the other two versions, this is my favorite version of Don West so far. Now, I'm not saying that the guy from Friends did a bad job in the 98 film. He did what he was supposed to do. And then the guy from the series and stuff like that, he's basically playing the same character that they had in the 98 film, just as that's what they thought they would be like in the 60s and what have you. But I like this version of this character the most. He's like the most interesting, the most layered character compared to the other one where he was just like a military guy, where this guy, he's kind of like, he's like a mechanic, and then he's got this black market thing going on the side in which they kind of play with it for a little bit for like an episode or two. I thought that was pretty damn interesting, and I thought it was pretty damn funny as well. I wonder how much more that's going to play into it going even further. So I don't know. I have to wait and see how that plays out, but I think he's like my favorite version of the Don West character so far as I'm concerned. Now, the kid playing William Robinson in this one, he's interesting, but he's kind of like, you could tell that he's like, now we find out through the course of the beginning of the show that he actually did not pass the test to actually go on this mission thing where they, because it's not like, they just let anybody go. You had to go through tests and stuff like that, and they had to make sure you could actually physically and mentally withstand the pressures that you're going to go with going on this kind of a trip. I mean, this is not like going around the block, man. This is like serious. These people were going and they were never coming back. Now, the Judy Robinson character in this version of Lost in Space, again, played by Taylor Russell. Now, I think this is like the youngest version of this role so far out of the three, like the 60s and the 98 film and what have you, because I really don't know about the other two. I don't remember like in the 60s show if they actually made it like a thing like they never really said like in the description and what have you. It only says that she's the oldest of the three. It doesn't even say like she had like what job she had on the show. And I don't remember. I haven't watched that show in years. So and I think she was a doctor in the 98 film. I think. I don't remember, to be quite honest with you. And I don't remember them saying anything about her age and what have you, but I could be wrong about that one too. I'll have to check into that one. But they do make it kind of like a thing in this series and what have you, because like she's 18 and she is a doctor. And there's like one scene, what have you, like where the one guy where they were trying to get fuel so they can actually get off the planet and what have you. And on the way back, he has like, the cable comes out and he climbs out while it's still driving and what have you, and he tries to hook it back up, and he does hook it back up, but then they hit a bump, and he falls off, and the trailer falls on top of him, and they end up flipping the trailer. They lose a lot of fuel, but the guy is like really, really badly injured, and he ends up dying, and I think this might have been like one of her first patients in her medical career that she actually loses, and what have you, and it was a kind of a heavy scene, to be quite honest with you, and I mean, it was pretty good. I mean, again, I like this show, and that there alone is just one of the examples of why I like it, because it was just like the story on this thing is just awesome. The writers of this show are pretty damn cool. Like all I can really say. So I don't know. And now the Penny Robinson character in this version of the show, again played by Mina Sundwall and what have you. Now she seems to be like the typical middle kid what have you. Now I can relate because I'm the middle child myself. So, but it's not as bad. And like same thing with the 60s version and like the 98 film. They kind of like play on that whole the middle kid type thing. Whenever they're trying to get underneath the shadow of the older person and what have you. And again, I can kind of relate to that a little bit, And so I kind of see that with you. But this one is like not as annoying as like the 98 one was. Kind of a little more childish than older and what have you. I mean, because I'm not obviously if the older one's like 18, this one's probably around 16 or so, maybe. I think again they don't really say her age, what have you, and they don't really say like what her like speciality is and stuff like that. Like obviously the older one is a doctor, and I think the kid is like kind of mechanically inclined and what have you. So I'm not really sure what Penny brings to the mission. I mean, maybe I missed it. So I don't know if you did. Let me know in the comments down below. But I mean, I like it. I mean, I like this character still more so than the other two versions. What have you? Like again, I love this show. I mean, I like it a lot. I mean, she's got the most wise cracks so far out of the three. So I kind of relate to that too. So I don't know. I mean, I like this a lot. And then also we got Brian Steele, he's playing the alien robot in this, or playing the robot in this one compared to the other two, where they had like in the 60s version, they had two different actors playing the robot. Back then, there was a guy, Bob May, I believe his name was, who was actually in the suit. And then they had Dick Tuffle was the voice for the robot in the 60s show, and he came back to reprise his role in the 98 film, so that's pretty damn cool. Now, again, Brian Steele is playing the robot. Now, obviously, to me, this one is, I mean, there might be some practical effects to it. What have you. He might actually be in a suit. A lot of it seemed like it was, at least some of it is CG. I'm not really sure. I'll have to check into that one. But at the very least, he's like at least doing motion capture, what have you. So that's pretty damn cool. And this one is like, it's like a different role, especially it being alien. He said he does talk a little bit, but doesn't really say that much actually words as of quite yet. I mean, mainly he says like somebody's name and it says danger. So he doesn't really like talk a lot yet. I'm sure maybe as we go along here, it might get a little bit more. Now, they've got a season 2 that's already up on Netflix right now, and they're I keep on seeing talks about season 3. I haven't really seen any dates and what have you just quite yet. And unfortunately, Netflix is very, very infamous for canceling good shows after season 3, because it was on a story. I can't remember where I read it, but there was a story online saying that they had this theory. That's when shows usually get to be more expensive. Like, actors want more money, writers want more money, everybody wants more money. So they just that's like they usually a lot of their series. And I can't. I mean, from what I see so far and what I've read, they get canceled after the third season because of that reason. It's like they're one of their business practices. I mean, maybe there might be a couple exceptions to the rule, but I've seen it a couple times where there's like 3 seasons and that's it. So I don't know. That's kind of messed up. So I'm hoping it gets past season 3, because I like this show a lot. And I can't wait to go watch season 2. So I'm hoping that one's like just as good as season 1. That'd be a really downer if like season 2 is not as good as season 1. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because I don't know, that would just kind of suck. So I mean, and I like this a lot. And then like the whole thing about towards the end of the show and what have you, like the alien thing, like kind of like how would you say it kind of like incorporates itself in the Jupiter 2 as they're going up to finally get into the Resolute and what have you, and then they end up jumping to somewhere, and it kind of looks like that's like might have been like the alien robots home system. I don't know exactly where they jumped to. I thought that was kind of interesting to see, to be quite honest with you. Now, they were supposed to be going to Alpha Centauri. I wonder, I mean, I don't know. And like, I was kind of wondering, because they kind of made it like a thing. I can't remember which. I think it was like either maybe episode, like towards the end of the season, they were making it a thing like the alien technology that was on his ship on the ground on that planet was also on the Resolute. And it was like almost like the same thing. They kind of made it seem that that's where like the whole asteroid and comet thing that Maureen Robinson's like, there was an impact, but that was it. There was nothing else. Like if it was like an actual comet or an asteroid, there would be extra fragments all over, and there wasn't. So, and then there's like this whole drive system that they're using for this spaceship. So I wonder if they're going to address that even more in season 2. But they're on their own. So I don't know if they're actually going to bring that up, because I mean, if they have that, well, I don't know. We have to wait and see. I mean, again, I can't wait to watch season 2. I mean, I got so many questions about this show. I can't wait to actually start watching season 2. I mean, there's really no downside to this, but I will say one thing: this show you have to watch from like 1 and watch all the way through. I think if you try to jump in like on a random episode, you might be able to catch on to the whole story and what have you and be okay. But in my opinion, I think you almost have to watch it all the way through. I mean, I'm not saying you have to do it all in one sitting. I mean, that's just crazy, because that's like pretty much like a 10-hour movie, right? Because there's 10 episodes, and every episode averages at least like an hour, roughly about 50 some odd minutes. So that's 10 hours. That's it. To watch that in all one sitting would just be insane. I mean, just crazy. I mean, I watched it every single day while I was on the road working, what have you, when I was at the end of the day. But that's only an hour a day. That's not like 10 hours from home. That's just insane. It's crazy. So, I mean, I like this show. I really can't say it enough. So, I mean, I'm just so curious to see where it goes. And I did see some kind of report that I don't know if in season 3, they might actually do something more far as like the older Robinson kid's biological dad. I wonder if they bring that up in season 2. Again, I haven't read anything. I didn't even read like the synopsis from season 2. I don't really. I'm trying to go. The only thing I'm going on is like what I just watched. I watched 10 hours of the first season, and then that's it. I haven't really read any articles or really did any deep dives into other people's theories and what have you, because I'm going by what the writers and the directors envision, and just I'm trying to go off of that first. And I haven't really talked to anybody about like what they feel about the show. I mean, I know a lot of people like it, and I see it all over YouTube and on the internet and stuff like that. But I haven't really talked to anybody at work. They go, "Oh yeah, I've seen that too." But so I don't know. Now, Alpha Centauri is like 4.5 light years away from Earth. It's the closest star that we have to us. Now, I don't know what that actually translates out into miles, to be quite honest with you. I'm not that good at math. Now, when I did look it up on the internet, this is the number that it gave me. I don't know how to say that. So if you do, let me know in the comments down below. It's pretty interesting. So, I don't know. I really like this show. I can't wait for to go start watching season 2. Now, have you seen season 1 for Lost in Space on Netflix? What do you think? You think it's pretty damn good? You're a good old fan from the show from the 60s or from the movie that came out in 98? Let me know in the comments down below. I don't know. I can't wait to start watching season 2. Let me know what you think, man. Let's talk about it. See you in the next video. Peace. Make sure you click on that subscribe button so you can be notified every time I drop another video. While you're at it, check out one of my other movie review videos. Check out one of my drum cover videos. Join the discussion in the comments down below. Please like and share, and have a good day. Peace.